On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, history is made as the CBOE launches the first ever Bitcoin futures market. ViaBTC are starting a new cryptocurrency exchange based on Bitcoin Cash, and worldwide Bitcoin scaling is one step closer now that the first ever Lightning Network transactions have been tested on the main Bitcoin network. All of that on today's episode of the Cryptoverse, so stay right there. Hi there guys, this is Chris Coney speaking. Welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. Messed up the intro there a bit, didn't I? Because I did it in the wrong order. The thing is, you guys seem to like the more casual approach to all this, which clashes with my belief system, because my belief is it needs to be like super polished and so on. But the best feedback I get is when I do like just random live streams where I just talk a lot of rubbish, right? So I thought, okay, fine, well, let's chill it out a bit. Let's sit down, right? Because when I'm stood up, it's kind of in a stress position, I suppose. And I come across more wooden, so let's try it. So the first story is Bitcoin futures launched, right? It's on a minor exchange, mind you. The CBOE isn't as big as the CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. CME launches on the 18th of December, so that's the big daddy. But yesterday, I think it was like 5 p.m. American Central Time, the first ever contract market was launched. And actually, you can find this on the CBOE website, so let's take a look. So on the CBOE website, I did a search for, what did I search for? I think I just searched for Bitcoin futures and got 3 results back. Now, if I'm not mistaken here, it says 1/18, 2/18, and 3/18, which I believe is January 2018, February, and then March 2018, right? Now, the January 2018 contract is the only one that has data right now. So if you click on it, I actually opened it in a new window here. This is the screen for it, and it actually has some data coming through. If you click on the other ones, it just doesn't say anything. If you're interested in looking at this up yourself on CBOE.com, the symbol is BTC/F8. So you can search for that yourself. Now, at time of recording, the last price is $15,300. Now, if we refresh that, I wonder if it'll change. Yeah, it doesn't change. And actually, the actual change percentage says 0 because there hasn't been a full day's trading yet, I imagine. That's why that's doing that. Now, if you consider that, futures contracts were originally designed to aid manufacturers and farmers so that they could like lock in prices for their goods and services, or goods in particular, like crops are unpredictable, the cost of steel and aluminium and stuff is unpredictable, so you'd want to lock that in. So you can imagine how like futures could help boost cryptocurrency adoption by allowing retailers who accept Bitcoin as payment basically to buy insurance against the price of Bitcoin falling after they've received the payment, right? So say Dell receives $1,000 worth of Bitcoin as payment today for a laptop, and then a week goes by and the Bitcoin price drops 20% to $800, right? Dell's in trouble. They've basically just sold a laptop for $800 when it should have been priced at $1,000, and they'll have a very carefully balanced, pricing structure. So if they bought a Bitcoin futures contract, paying a small fee for that, then they reserve the right to sell that Bitcoin for $1,000 come the 26th of January 2018. And the reason I say that is because if we look back at the futures thing here, it says the expiration date on this contract is the 28th of January. So that's when it comes due for delivery, right? So if the price of Bitcoin goes up in the meantime, in between, Dell receiving the $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and then the 26th of January, if it goes up in the meantime and it ends up being worth more than $1,000, say $1,200, well, then they just choose not to exercise the contract, right? They just lose the insurance fees, just like not claiming on your insurance. So they can just let it expire and then just sell the Bitcoin on the real market for $1,200, right? And if it goes down, then of course they exercise the contract so they don't lose money. Now that's how it's supposed to work, but because these futures are cash settled markets, Dell wouldn't actually sell the Bitcoin on the open market. They would just receive the $200, right? So their Bitcoin would go down in value from 1,000 to 800, but they would be compensated $200 in cash to compensate them for that loss, right? So they could then sell the Bitcoin for $800 and then make up the loss with the futures contract when it expired and they claimed that. So the question is, what happened to Bitcoin and altcoin prices as a result of this? Well, if we take a quick looky here at, say, Coinigy, Bitcoin price against the US dollar, today it's up quite a bit. Yesterday was a bit erratic. There was a big trading range over the last several days. Yesterday, a very wide range indeed. It fell all the way to $12,730 on Bitfinex, and it hit a high of $15,741. But it did go down to $12,730. That's quite low, right? That's almost tickling 12,500 again. But today we opened up again pretty high. We opened up at nearly 15,000 again, and we're back up at 16,400-ish at time of recording. In terms of like, what's the rest of the market doing? The last time I checked, it was pretty positive across the board. As you can see from OCFX.com here, you've got the top 20 all in green. The only loser here in the top 20 plus is, well, actually 21st position. First Coin is the only one down here by 2%, but everything else is either in single or double digit gains. All the way down to the top 40 is in gains, apart from Einsteinium, which has been on a bit of a tear recently, but now pulling back 20%. Other than that, pretty good all across the board, with Waves leading the pack today, 26% gain, and the biggest loser being, I think Einsteinium is the biggest loser of the day, down 19%. So that was what happened. Pretty bit of euphoria going on there. The world didn't end. The CBOE website did crash, I think, after the futures market opened, and so did some of the exchanges that it's pulling its prices in from. So they're relying on, actually CME is going to rely on, I think it's Kraken and GDAX and so on. I think the CBOE was getting its price from the Gemini exchange. Don't quote me on that, but either way, there was a bumpy ride there for to begin with, but now everything's all right again. Let's move on to our second story here. ViaBTC to launch a new exchange based on Bitcoin Cash. Now check this. This is actually interesting, so stay tuned for this. It's not a surprise here that it's Bitcoin.com that are reporting on this, right? Bitcoin.com are diehard supporters of Bitcoin Cash. It's also no surprise to me that it's ViaBTC who are doing this new exchange, because they were trading Bitcoin Cash futures before it launched, before the fork, and they were the first to put some hash power behind SegWit2x, I think it was. Again, don't quote me on that when it was around. That's irrelevant because that's all fell by the wayside now. Anyway, the story is that ViaBTC are going to create a new cryptocurrency exchange with Bitcoin Cash as the base currency instead of Bitcoin, right? So that basically means that Bitcoin Cash will be the main currency that everything else is traded against, in the same way that BTC is done on most exchanges right now. If you go to Bittrex, for example, you click on the Bitcoin markets and it shows everything that trades against Bitcoin. And you click on the dollar market and it shows everything that trades against the dollar. So this new exchange is just going to do that, except that the reserve currency, the base currency that everyone will be trading in and out of, will be Bitcoin Cash rather than Bitcoin. So they're going to call this CoinEx, right? And it actually has a little pre-launch website here. Check this out. CoinEx, the global digital coin exchange coming soon. BCH priced, it says here. Now, most interesting to me is the fact that they're going to base the exchange in the United Kingdom. Kind of brave, given the recent news about the government wanting to kind of heat up regulation on cryptocurrency exchanges. I reported on that the other day. And according to this article from Bitcoin.com, they incorporated in the UK on the 4th of December, which I was actually able to verify by going to Company's House. So over we go to Company's House. There we go. CoinEx Technology Limited. If I click on the overview tab here, incorporated 4th of December 2013. Jolly good. Now its SIC code right now is as a non-trading company, which is kind of curious. But then we can look at the people who are listed as directors. C&R Business Consulting Limited, never heard of them. That's the company secretary. And then we have Heipo Yang as the director. He was born in 1989. 1989. So 2017 minus 1989. 28 years old. You little whippersnapper, you. And their address is there in China. Very interesting. Nice upcoming entrepreneur there from China, 28-year-old. Go for it. Go for it. Haypo. Go for it, mate. Anyway, why is ViaBTC doing this, you may ask? Well, according to the article, and there's a quote here from their chief operating officer, it says, quote, "We chose BCH over BTC because it has much faster transactions with lower fees and better performance in terms of usability." So they stated that, and it also says here that ViaBTC is one of the 3 largest Bitcoin Cash mining pools. Okay, so from a business point of view, they just want to add value to Bitcoin Cash so that the coins they mine are worth more, plain and simple, right? And as we saw on the CoinEx website there, it's coming in December, it says. It says there, in December. So we're going to see it by the end of the month, by the sounds of things. Yes, well, Bitcoin better get its skates on before Bitcoin Cash starts taking its market share like this, right? According to Blocktivity, which is one of my new favorite stats websites, down here, Bitcoin Cash is now the 8th blockchain by transactional volume at around 17,000 transactions per day. And the article claims that's increasing, but I wasn't able to verify that. When you look on fork.lol, it's just erratic. I need more of a smoother trend, you know what I'm saying, to say that it's increasing over time. Now, just to balance out the analysis here, let's switch over to the third story, which is Bitcoin fighting back with the Lightning Network. So over we go to Medium. Here's a post on Medium from the Lightning developers, posted a few days ago, actually, now on the 6th of December. So this is big news coming out of the Bitcoin community. Came out last week. This is promising to keep it ahead of Bitcoin Cash in terms of adoption as actual currency. So the development teams working on the Lightning Network, they've now successfully completed the first ever Lightning transactions on the main Bitcoin network, the main net. That's the key difference here. So we've already had it going on the, the test net and so on, but now we've got them on the main network. Not only that though, because there are several different implementations of the Lightning Network, those various development teams have been working together to make sure that the Lightning Network or the various different implementations work together so that all the different clients are compatible. This is very interesting. We don't want 3 different Lightning networks, right? Because you'll have to pick one to send your transaction on, right? We want one big interconnected network so that the network effects can take effect. Now, these recent tests confirmed that yes, no matter which version of the Lightning Network you use, you are able to send an instant Lightning transaction to anyone for a tiny fee. Now, the 3 implementations are from, the implementation teams. You've got Async, who have developed a client called Eclair. That's their software implementation. We've got Blockstream, who have developed the C Lightning client. And then we've got Lightning Labs, who have developed the LND client. That's the second time I've hit the microphone. I apologize. Now, if you want to see a demo of this, you go to the Medium post, which will be linked in today's show notes. You can see I've already watched it because it's showing the suggested videos. So there's one of someone doing like a mock coffee purchase, and then there's another one showing a more technical view of the transaction bouncing around several nodes in a channel to actually arrive at its destination literally within 1 second, if not quicker. So when the Lightning Network officially launches, it will take some time to establish itself, right? Because it's essentially a new network that sits on top of Bitcoin. That's why they call it like a second layer solution. Bitcoin is the base layer, and then the second layer will be Lightning. And the strength of a network depends on how many people or how many nodes are in the network, right? So it depends how many people are going to run Lightning nodes in order to relay transactions, right? And the more nodes we have who can relay them, the more interconnectivity we'll have, and then the network effects will be better. So while you will be earning fees for relaying transactions, you do have to lock up a certain amount of Bitcoin in a state channel, in a payment channel, to guarantee the transactions that you are relaying. That's how come if I'm sending a transaction and it goes through several of the nodes, that's how I can guarantee that I'm not going to lose my money or no one's going to steal it, because everyone along the way has to stake some Bitcoin. Because it's like pass the parcel, right? It's not your actual Bitcoin that ends up in the destination. It's I send it to the nearest Lightning node, and they pay the next person in the sequence. They pay the next person in the sequence until eventually the person gets paid, and then it all reconciles back through the chain. I'm personally interested in how profitable this will be, and to see if there's a sufficient incentive for a lot of people to run a lot of Lightning nodes. We'll have to see that, you know. I can imagine the volume of transactions that's going to go through the Lightning Network will mean that there are some decent fees to be had from doing this. So that's the end of the news for today. I'd just like to welcome 13 new patrons have signed up this week. So shout out to you lot. You all know who you are, and of course I know who you are because we're all in the private chat group together, right? If you signed up as a patron and you're not in the private chat group, then get yourself in there by going over to your student dashboard on Cryptoversity. There's a box that says courses, and all the courses are listed in there. One of the courses says patron bonuses. Click that and that will link you through to the chat group. So thank you very much to the small percentage of you who support the Cryptoverse financially. I'm almost at the point now where I'm able to employ a full-time assistant, which will free me up no end to make the Cryptoverse even better. Alrighty then guys, thanks very much for joining me today. If you liked this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new around here, get subscribed. And if you would like access to my very best material, like my patrons, which have access to all my step-by-step online courses, then check out my website, which is cryptoversity.com, right there, top right corner. And you'll be able to check out any of the step-by-step courses that I've created for your educational delight. Alright guys, that's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.